Just here at Bruce's place again. You might remember Bruce. I did a video on his cars a little while ago, focusing mainly on the Abarth SA that he had. He does have another one now over in his shed, but we're focusing today on his part of his collection, focusing on the E Chassis BMWs. So we've got his beautiful E31 840ci. Bruce just, 840ci. Bruce is just making a coffee. I brought donuts. And he's got his E39, and this is a 540i. So it's got the 4-litre V8. And he bought this from a guy over in Hamilton, who a lot of New Zealand BMW people know, who's got a little bit of a collection of BMWs over there, and he parted with this one. And you know, if you've got one of his cars, you've got a good one. And of course we've got the E46 330i Cabriolet. And this would be quite a rare car, I'd imagine, especially in this condition. Vinyl top in perfect condition.
They did a discovery on why it wasn't locking properly.
Yeah.
And there's two nylon monoblocks in the top of the rail. And that when you press the button and hold it down to close it, there's two screws that go horizontally into those to lock it.
Yeah.
And of course the nylon block's worn out.
So I popped to the local bakery and Bruce has made a coffee.
The Cabriolet,
yeah,
which is New Zealand new, I've had that for 15 years now.
Right.
And it's probably a car which is a bit rare to have on the road now because they're quite expensive to maintain.
Yeah.
But being New Zealand new, it's a pretty strong car because a lot of them came in from Japan.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, you know, they've been used and abused. Whereas this car's had a charmed life, really.
Yeah.
It was incredibly expensive new. It was $155,000 new.
Yeah.
In 2000.
Yeah.
Because the first owner ticked every box for the options.
Right. Yeah.
Including the number plate.
Oh, really?
So right from the beginning,
yeah,
it's had the BMW number plates, which of course requires the consent of BMW to have that on.
Yeah,
you can't just go and get that from Kiwi plates. You've got to actually,
is that right?
Get an authorization from BMW New Zealand. So 3S BMW has been on the car right from the word go.
Yeah. Wow.
And the great part about the car, of course, is that it's such a well-built car that even if you've had to do work on it, everything's available still, you know, and it's a strong car. So if you're going to break something, you will have had to try very hard to break it.
Yeah, and being an E46, there were so many different versions and shapes of E46s. A lot of the parts cross over, so there'd be huge, probably.
It's not a motorsport version, which means that it doesn't have some of the front and rear end bumper styling, but I loathe to change anything on the car because of it being an original car.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course it is the 3-litre motor version, so it's got plenty of oomph.
Yeah.
Quite a heavy little car.
Yeah.
And that's down to the solid build, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Do they...
Still the original top, so which is incredible, really. But if it's as it's been looked after and garaged, you know, it's preserved the vehicle.
Yeah. Do these suffer much from scuttle shake? Are they pretty
it's
sturdy?
Noticeable now if you drive other vehicles or other convertibles.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty solid. I suppose that's the one thing that's changed with a lot of newer cars. that they've realised that scuttle shape becomes an issue, but then they have to build in a lot more strength, which adds to the weight.
Yeah.
So in some respects this car's a bit of fun to drive because it has that little bit of flexibility in the body.
Yeah, once you're familiar with it, you just go with it, eh?
A couple of changes I did do was the corner lights into the darker shadow.
Yeah, and the indicator.
Shadow,
yeah, I thought so.
I didn't like the orange on the side necessarily. It seemed to clash with that darker colour.
Yeah.
And I just wanted a little bit of
just a
subtlety on
subtle
that.
change. Easy enough if someone wanted to put it back to original. You know, it's not a major.
It's still got its original right from new shield cover on the front of the paint, which is showing a little bit of damage.
Yeah.
But it's still the original piece of vinyl that they've used.
It's kept quite well, really, because I saw one the other day, and it was on a Holden actually, and it was just all crazed. The whole thing was.
Sometimes, if people have been a bit too rough washing the car, they've caught the edge, and then the water will seep in.
Yeah. So I wonder if that was probably from factory.
Well, no, it would have been done here in New Zealand, but done from new.
Ah, yeah.
As part of what BMW did to prep the car for the customer.
Yeah.
And it was first owned by a company in Auckland, which was a car company, coincidentally called Top Cars.
Oh yeah.
T-O-P, not T-O-P-P.
Yeah.
And I'm presuming that the managing director had bought the car for one of his family as a company vehicle, as a tax write-off, basically.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Because at $155,000,
you
need some tax relief out of it.
A quote company vehicle, unquote.
Yes, yes. But it's got all of the it's a full leather interior.
Yep.
Which is kind of essential on these cars because the fabric on some of them disintegrates rather badly.
If you got the roof down a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I suppose being black, the only other disadvantage with that fact is that if you have got the top down on a hot day, it can get very hot.
You gotta think about it before you jump in.
Yeah. But all of the seat arrangement, it's got the bolstered seats with the extension.
Yep.
It's got the rather antiquated wood trim look.
Yep.
On the
It's kept well though.
But again, because it's all original in terms of it came like this, I'm loath to change it.
Yeah. Especially seeing it's a little bit unusual.
Yes, yeah.
If it was sort of one of, thousands on the road, it probably wouldn't matter, but yeah.
Well, I don't know how many they sold new in New Zealand, but it wouldn't have been a great deal because they were such an expensive car.
See all the extras that they've got, sensors and everything on it.
Yeah.
And for, what'd you say it is, a 2000?
2000.
Yeah, so I mean...
so it was just on that crossover. It has got the later model key, which is the diamond shape, and it's programmed, the key, which was part of the option package, so you can actually raise and lower the soft top using the key.
Yeah.
Which is quite handy, and it's a bit of a party trick.
Yeah.
To be holding the button and the roof goes up and down.
Yeah. No, they've kept their shape, I think. The E46s. You were saying about when I caught up with you once about how cool they look if you can get your hands on a hard top, and it gives them a different look again.
I've always kept an eye out for a hard top.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah.
But they just don't appear anymore. They used to about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
There were some for sale, and I should have grabbed them at the time. But people, wanted $3,000 or $4,000 just for the hard top.
Probably be even worse now.
And to get one now, you'd be paying probably double that.
Yeah.
For one in good condition.
Be alright if you came across one and someone didn't really know what it was, and you just timed it right. But
there was at one stage a car in Wellington for sale on Trade Me, and it had the optional hardtop, and again the people didn't realise at the time, I don't think, how valuable just the soft top was.
Yeah.
And I think some people were starting to offer money for the soft top,
Right.
for the hard top rather,
Yeah.
rather than the car, because the car wasn't really that much more special than just a normal silver convertible.
I've seen listings for different cars come up like that, and people have said, "Oh, would you be willing to sell the top?" You know, it's like, well, you can't
or
imagine.
People want the wheels or whatever because they have more value for that particular
and it's the
buyer.
whole car that's for sale.
These were the first era, the E46 with the glass insert.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was just plastic fantastic.
Yeah, and they perished, didn't they, over time?
They would either have been replaced at some stage, or like a lot of cars, the soft top deteriorates quite quickly once it deteriorates, and so you have to replace the whole thing rather than just the plastic.
Yeah.
But it does help, because there's no ingress. The ceiling on this is just unbelievable. I don't know how they do it, but there's a triple layer in the soft top. So you've got the inner, and then there's I think it's like a foil mat that's layered between the outer layer.
So like an insulator.
Yeah. So it's soundproofed and insulated, and just keeps the strength of the whole thing going.
Yeah.
I've always used the BMW product that they recommend for the soft top, which is a cleaning product. So it's I think like a mild detergent which foams up. You use just a sponge to apply that, and then you hose that off and use the protector, and I suppose it's like a Scotch guarding liquid.
Yeah.
And you leave that to soak in, and you just let it air dry.
So it's sort of conditioning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trick is with the soft tops is to never rub them with anything, a chamois or a cloth, because it's actually interrupting the weave and damages it.
Yeah.
A lot of people scrub them with a brush, thinking they're getting the pollen
destroying all the fibres on
but they're actually wrecking the surface.
Yeah.
It's got the optioned mags with, I call them the heart mags because they've got a little heart shape cut out in it. And chrome wheel nuts. All of these things are options, in terms of.
So they've really gone to town with box ticking.
Yeah.
Basically just tick the box at the top that pre-selected all the other boxes.
Yes.
Went for it.
And I think the only option they didn't tick was the heated seats. But I presume that if you're only going to use it in the summer, maybe they didn't want to have the heated seats necessarily.
Yeah.
Because they may not have wanted to use it in the winter.
Yeah.
But in New Zealand, it's not really an issue. If you're in those colder European countries, I would think that you'd need the heated seats, otherwise it'd be a bit of a chill bill to get into.
Yeah.
It's got the correct tinted blue mirror glass. Again, I think BMW started doing that because they realised that the glare from these mirrors as they got bigger was getting to be a bit of an issue. And then it's got the split in it so that you can actually lean forward and see more of the
wide
road.
angle sort of, and these are the ones you're saying that have got the little vanes on them to stop the whistling.
It's actually on the top. I thought it was on the base, but what they were finding was that the wind was pushing in and swirling around and causing a lot of noise. But by putting the little strakes on the top, the designers realised that they could eliminate that wind noise.
Determining where the wind goes. Nice.
And what's really incredible is that the aerodynamics of the roof are so good, because I think the fit is so good with the windows, giving that extra fitment. Because when they close, they go up. And so all of the windows do that to fit against the roof. We've got a roof rail, which means that when you open the door and it's raining, you haven't got water running in. So a lot of care and attention's gone into the detail. One of the big things that BMW made an issue of was that they wanted the car, even with the top up, to look like the top was down and it was a convertible. And to do that, they did the the bright work right around the body,
Yeah, yeah.
and this really thick streak here.
Yeah.
So in silhouette, you get that
Yeah, that's what you see.
convertible shape.
Yeah, the rest is just
Yeah.
sort of disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite clever. That's where I think they look, as well as the soft top, they look so cool with the hard top, because you still,
Yes, yes.
you've got that effect still. You can see
The
the
hard
difference.
top, what happens is that it actually shifts into the body in terms of how it comes down onto this frame.
So you get like the sill almost running
Yes.
around. Yeah.
So the upshot of that is that you get another look.
Yeah.
It's a bit more muscular because it's pushing this out in terms of the top going in onto that frame.
Because I've seen the old one when I've walked past, and I sort of haven't noticed it at first, but you notice there's something different about them, and that's what it is.
Again, the balance of the body design, that hard top has that solid frame sitting over the wheel again, like a Cabriolet, soft top, but it just a bit more grunty.
Yeah, makes it more muscular.
So yeah, maybe one day we'll find a broken down one with a hard top.
Yeah, and someone that doesn't know what the top's worth.
Unfortunately, most people will, because you know if they've got one now, they bought it for the fact that it has another look. And I actually have seen some cars where they've bought a hard top after the fact, and they've had a red-bodied car with the black top, which kind of looks cool. Or they've painted it another contrasting colour, rather than self-coloured. Most of them would have, if they came from the factory, would always be the same colour as the body. Carl Martin, who was the previous owner, had sourced this car after a long search. He'd been a pretty pedantic sort of person. He'd searched for about 3 years looking for the right car. And like me, I'd done the same. I'd done my research and wanted the motorsport body, which is quite different from the standard.
Oh, it really works on these. Like, I've seen a few around, but this one really...
The motorsport mirrors, you know, they're so sculptural with their two-pronged attachment.
It's really held its styling incredibly. Like, what year is this?
This is a 94.
94, wow. 30-year-old car.
It's, what is amazing is that I've turned up to some car club meetings, and it's the first time some of the members have ever seen an E31, because they're just so rare. And then they look at it and they think, it's kind of wow, you know, in terms of, you know, this body styling, and they think it's sort of new because it's sort of out there in terms of the long bonnet, the pop-ups, the offset wheels, of course, make it a bit more chunky looking.
The designers just absolutely hit the mark, I think.
So there's another couple of body styles, the Schnitzer and the Alpinas. The Alpinas didn't go as extreme as the Motorsport. They almost look standard, although there's probably a little bit more of a solid look to the front of the Alpinas. But the Schnitzers are even more dramatic again, because they eliminated that centre bar at the bottom of the front bumper and just had a complete cutout, which kind of looks dramatic in itself, you know, as being a cutout section. The unfortunate part of the whole front, of course, is that it's pretty vulnerable when it's so low. And but once you start driving it, you get to know how to avoid being in contact with something hard.
You know your car. So, like, there's a lot going on with the front design, but it's intricate, but it works so well.
And the whole thing is a unit. So this whole unit comes off as one piece. Because BMW realised that because it's vulnerable, it's going to get damaged, perhaps, compared to, you know, other vehicles. And so it's all plastic fantastic. But there and again, you know, I've seen crushed sections here on vehicles where they've caught something, and it would take careful and considered sort of repair to get it right.
The grille on these is almost reminiscent of the M1.
Yes,
with the tiny,
were trying,
the tiny
I suppose,
kidneys
to give that silhouette from the M1 car, which was, you know, it was a pretty current sort of design factor.
Yeah. And revolutionary too.
Yeah. And it's probably the smallest grille that they did on any of the modern cars that you could possibly find.
Yeah.
Completely the reverse of today's, you know,
30 years later.
design.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And the pop-ups, of course, you know, pretty incredible design on those. Again, it's got the drop glass on the doors. I think the build quality on these was one of the factors.
Yeah.
And I've heard stories that in the factory they'd go through several sets of window glass to just get them absolutely perfect.
Right.
For the flush.
Find the one that works best for that car.
Yeah. And of course, it's this car's party trick is that all of the glass drops.
Yeah. Completely pillarless.
A pillarless look.
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah.
And a good old pop-up.
Yeah, yeah. Lovely.
I think some people just adore that idea that the whole
And when you do that, it just
yeah.
it even emphasises the sleekness. I think it's just that clean, streamlined, and
clean line.
and muscular at the same time, like, and everything just works very subtly together.
These are very pronounced. That's a long section of design that they put into that wing.
Yeah, but it doesn't look odd.
No,
like it works,
and
you
it
know?
repeats itself again at the front.
Yeah, they're almost,
with even a longer
and the door's
section.
probably a similar length.
Yeah.
So it's three
So you've got three sections basically.
Yeah.
You know, over the wheel arches and in the centre.
Yeah. Should we have a little look under the hood, that V8? Because I think you were saying when you were looking, you were thinking about the differences between the V8 and the
V12
and the V12, and just the weight of the engine, and you know.
They did mostly the V12 version. The V8s came at the end of the life of the car.
Yeah.
And basically, I guess it lowered the price so that more people could afford to buy them. This car was well over $200,000 new.
30 years
even
ago.
with the V8. So, you know, the V12s were dearer again.
Yeah.
They only sold, just make sure I got this right, I think it was 54 of them new in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So to get a New Zealand new one, kind of special.
Yeah.
Having said that, a lot of those cars have disappeared offshore because they've been good ones and have survived.
Yeah.
This is an import. We think it's come via the UK. It's been factory delivered to the UK for a customer, and that customer's brought it to New Zealand when they've come to live here.
Oh, right, okay. Brought it with them.
Yeah, I haven't got the complete history.
Yeah.
Carl does have a huge dossier on the car which he gave to me when I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always that grey area of history in terms of cars getting to New Zealand. But usually what's happened is that somebody's purchased it if it's been delivered offshore somewhere else.
Yeah.
People have come to live here and have loved the car so
Couldn't
much
leave it
they
behind.
bought it.
Yeah, good on them.
The two-tone, of course, another option.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Blue leather, blue carpet.
Yeah.
It's, you know, that's where some of the expense would have been because it's an individual car.
Yeah.
Individual colour, the Tobago blue, and in a rather quaint way. It's got a double pronged release for here.
Yeah.
So those two plastics go in.
Yeah.
And it lifts up. And in a rather quaint way, they tried to save weight by doing some drill engineering here. This mechanism here is just so engineered with the drilling out.
Yeah.
But a bit of a pointless exercise because the car's pretty heavy to start
Probably
with.
saved about 100 grams or something.
But what a piece of engineering.
Yeah.
That whole, you know, articulated movement.
Yeah.
So it's like a parallelogram because it moves in parallel.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And when I drove a V12 version, you really notice the weight, and the V8's got plenty of oomph.
The V12, everything would be hanging further over the axle,
right
and
over the wheels.
yeah, whereas
the
this
weight
has still got that classic BMW
Yeah,
sort of
just
pushing it back as far as you can.
Yeah, it's taking the weight back.
Yeah,
So the steering, it just feels nicer on the road to be able to manoeuvre the car quickly.
yeah,
Whereas that V12, a lot of power on the V12 because it's torquey motor.
yeah.
Um,
You'd notice that with
but
braking into corners and everything
trying to
too. It would be
stop
diving.
and turn
Yeah, yeah,
in the V12,
yeah,
just a little bit more tricky.
yeah.
I think the only couple of things that I'll probably do on the car in the next little while is to refurbish the wheels.
Right.
Because some of the lacquer is coming off the rims.
Yeah.
And it's an expensive process because all of those little Allen key screws have to come out to separate the pieces to paint them.
Yeah.
One of my relatives was very concerned that if I had a flat tyre, because they thought you had to take all of those off to change the tyre. And
Didn't
I said,
realise it was.
no.
Yeah.
The centre cap comes off.
Yeah, yeah.
But it kind of dates the car a little.
Yeah.
But again, it's the detail in that wheel alone.
Yeah.
It's called a split rim.
Yeah.
And you've got two sections. You've got that inner with the basket weave.
Yeah.
And then the outer, all held on with those little Allen key screws.
I've seen people put more modern wheels on these, and I just don't think it works. It's probably maybe the wrong modern wheels, or
unless it's the Schnitzer version with the Schnitzer wheels.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Or the Alpina with their wheels,
Yeah.
which are very, very distinctive.
So it's still in keeping with the
it's part
design.
of that car's DNA.
Yeah, yeah.
And these would come sometimes with a very standard sort of wheel called a throwing star, which had a cutout and then a pointed section, which theoretically made the car look as though it was moving when it was standing still.
There's a comeback with those. They're actually starting to fit them to some. Saw the new G Series M2 with those, and boy, they look good-looking wheels. Those throwing stars.
I think for a lot of people, and there are other really standard wheels, which for some people is a disappointment because they're nothing terribly special on quite a dramatic car.
Yeah, got to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Did you smoke the lights in that? They're just all standard like that?
Wow. So again, it doesn't quite have that intense orange look. Even in the side light here, there's enough dark aspect to it that it doesn't detract.
They thought about everything.
It was a car ahead of its time, and they were trying to compete at the time with the Ferrari 456, which was Ferrari's front-end V12 touring car.
Yeah.
I've always loved the Ferrari 456.
Yeah.
But they're outrageously expensive compared to what I paid for this.
Yeah.
And basically, you're getting a slightly more elegant look.
Yeah. These were incredibly technologically advanced at the time too. I think. I don't think I saw something watching something the other day that a lot of people in the market didn't realise how advanced these cars were, and they kind of didn't get the attention that they deserved. And they actually brought a version out that was more or less an M. In fact, I think BMW were calling it an M8.
Yes. They did one M8 as a factory thing, and the other really desirable version of these is called the CSI, and it has the 6-speed manual gearbox with a V12 engine. So the engine's been upgraded. I think it's some of them are up to 5.7 litre in the V12, as opposed to just the 5 litre V12. So incredibly potent. And lots of fun if you're into changing, your gears manually.
Being fully interactive with your car.
There's 4 of those CSIs in New Zealand that we know of, and so they're pretty special. Most of the cars that the E31s unknown cars. I mean, this is a well-known club car with the BMW car club, because, you know, each owner has contributed to being a member of the club and attended, you know, events. So when I got the car, there was photographic evidence of the car being at Hampton Downs for some of the BMW events, even if they were just fun days with, you know, a fun run round the track. But it's all part of the history of this particular car.
Yeah, whoever's owned it has had an interest in it.
Yeah. And the previous owner, Carl, you know, he sourced the car because he wanted this motorsport body, and it took a long time to get it because they're not often for sale. Although, having said that, you get runs of where a whole heap are for sale, and then they all get bought, and then you never see another one for sale for a long time. VDO instrument, and the only thing the printing on some of the readout is small.
I mean, you know, a 30-year-old car.
Incredible.
It's
one of the big aspects of this car, of course, was that with all of the technology that they were using, they decided to go with 2 big batteries in the boot.
Right.
And that has its own issues, because if one is going particularly bad in terms of running out of juice, you can't just replace the one. You have to buy 2 new batteries.
Got to work in sync with each other.
And you have to insert them within 4 minutes, I think it is. Otherwise you lose code, and you've got to reprogram it all. And so when I did a change, which was about 3 years ago, because I was having issues with the battery, and I think what's happened in the past that somebody has replaced just the one battery, and you keep getting problems with the electronics. So I bit the bullet, and of course, you know, they're $600 each. So, you know, you're looking at $1,200 for battery replacement. And but to do that and get it set up so that everything's running on the dashboard right, you know, it just feels right to have that happening.
Because with the modern batteries now, they've got the IBS, the battery sensor, and you have to tell the car if you put a new battery in, but and it's only the one battery, but it knows how to treat that battery dependent on, you know, whether it's been sitting in the car and getting older or it's brand new. It knows how to charge it and that. So
this one has the optional, you can actually lower the seating, so if you're touring, you can actually lower that and stack your luggage onto it. Because as far as back seats are concerned, they're pretty useless because there's no gap for your legs on the back. It was the one down fall on the design aspect of it, was that there wasn't a lot of room for rear seat passengers. It was just really a two-seater car with a couple of back seats.
Driver centric completely.
And for some people that would have been a bit of an issue in terms of you know, getting children in and so forth. But for most people, I would think that it was down to the shape of the car that was enticing them to buy, because they love the look.
And it's probably not the sort of car you'd go out and buy if you had a young family anyway. You know, it's
can't afford to have children and the car.
But that's right.
And being an individual, you know, it just has those extra details where, you know, they've done the blue insert as part of that individual package. And this is all hand stitched, of course, so you know the quality of the way that whole door operates, it's just so solid. It's just incredible. You can understand why they decided to make sure that when they did the glass, that the glass was so perfect that it fitted nice and flush into that frame. And when you're driving, you know, there's no rattles or squeaks, or it's just an incredible build.
Well, even plastic, like you know, you talk about plastic quality. There's probably all leather anyway on here, is it?
No, it's all plastic, fantastic, but
But there's plastic and there's plastic.
It's such a good quality.
And the older plastic was way better quality, and it held its integrity, and even the clips and everything that they were using, you know,
Yes, and
stayed
it's
intact.
a case now where a lot of the guys in Europe are doing 3D printing of replacement parts for the inside dash area,
Yeah.
which gets a lot of wear and tear on it. And of course, if you can 3D print it and then maybe do it in a particular finish that you might want, it's just that much stronger. It's new.
Yeah.
It's, you know, hasn't had the UV light deteriorating it.
Yeah.
And some of those hard to get parts, people are making them because there's enough of them that have survived that warrants making those replacement parts.
Yeah.
Some of the parts would be fairly unobtainable now in terms of, you know, going to get a part from BMW themselves even. But I know that at headquarters here in BMW there's been people working there who've owned this particular model, and because they love them, and so they've made sure that there's been parts available.
A little bit biased.
Yeah, which is a good thing because they're car enthusiasts as well.
Yeah.
And one of the guys there, I don't know if he still works for BMW, but he'd rung Carl at the time that he owned it and said, we've just landed 4 V12 differentials, do you want one for your car? So the only modification this car's had is that it's been fitted with that stronger V12 differential.
Oh, okay.
Which is a great upgrade.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no wearing it out.
And I think the thing is that they'd landed them at a price, $400 I think they were. So it'd be, you know, it's an easy upgrade for $400.
Yeah, for sure.
And you probably can't buy them anymore now.
No, it's wonder he didn't say I'll take them all.
Yes. Well, there'd be 4 people in New Zealand that would have grabbed them.
Yeah.
And the guys at headquarters would have rung those people in the know.
Yeah.
Or with the cars, and said, you know, do you want one?
Yeah.
And it's first in, you know, best dressed,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Good to have that personal service. Yeah. Right, and this is your latest acquisition, the 540.
Only had it a week.
Yeah.
Previously owned by Stuart who's a BMW Car Club member, also I think a Facebook member of Simply BMW.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're all
connected
in that sort of enthusiast group.
In that world.
And Stuart's had this car 3 years previously, and in that time he'd bought it and then straight away started doing the refurbishment, or basically a restoration, because the body was stripped and repainted.
Oh, really?
So it's an individual car.
Yeah.
And the paint is an individual colour called Biarritz Blue. So not many E39s probably in the world, or even in New Zealand for that matter, in this colour, because it would have been an extra cost involved in optioning it, which I would think at the time was probably an extra $4,000 or $5,000 from the factory. And of course Stuart's just added all those extra details of new wiring loom, upgrading the lights to the Series 2 version. It's got the 9-spoke M5 wheels, which are offset, so they're correct.
Yeah.
And so it just gives a bit of more grunt to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's fitted the internal trim and seating from an M5, and included in that the lower dash, which is all the hand-stitched leather components.
So you've almost got the best of all worlds in that sense, yeah.
So this is detailed here. It's all hand-stitched leather, and you can see it here. It's all stitched leather. Yeah. And especially the armrests, you know, they're just plastic fantastic normally. Yeah. But these are leather, or again hand-stitched. Yeah.
So he's up-specced it in that sense. Yeah. Nice.
And the comfort seats. These have got extra bolstering in them.
Oh yeah.
So if you're doing a bit of a spirited drive, it's really helpful because really comfortable.
Especially with leather, keeps keeps you in place.
And as opposed to just a manual slide for the front, it's actually electric.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So just, you know,
And it works.
Little details.
I had those on my E61, but they're notorious for the plastic cogs breaking in them. But if they were broken, Stuart would have fixed them, no doubt. So yeah, it's
But it's just nice having the extra luxury of the leather trim.
Yeah.
And I suppose even compared to some M5 cars, this car has a lot of spec.
Yeah.
It's got the rear blind.
Yeah.
And you know, even the mirrors that Stuart fitted, which are M5 mirrors, they're fully functioning and they fold upwards.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is a bit of a neat look to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it just adds something extra, doesn't it?
Yeah. Glass sunroof, so again that would have been probably an extra option at the time. So the car would have been spec'd quite high as an original 1999 car.
Yeah.
And then it's had 3 years of love and attention. My immediate thoughts on the car, having purchased it, is that it just drives brilliantly because all the running gear's been changed, the suspension and shock absorbers.
What did he change those for?
I think just new items.
Oh, okay, so refreshed everything.
Yes, because
basically
the car's done nearly 300,000
right,
kilometres.
Yeah. So all the bushings and everything would be all
everything's so new, it drives like
a new car, yeah.
And the engine, of course, had a complete refresh.
Yeah.
Which means it's just so quiet and smooth.
Yeah.
And transmissions had a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
The dossier of invoices is pretty.
That'd just
hefty.
That'd just be from Stuart. Yeah.
He spent probably about $7,000 on the body for the paint, which was a pretty cheap way to improve the car in some respects. Because oftentimes, when you've got a car from 1999, the paint is getting to the point where you're going to find defect in it big time. And I think Stuart spent a lot of time himself preparing the car, so all he had to do was give it to the guys to paint, which kept the price down, because some paint jobs of this quality you'd be looking at $15,000 or $20,000, not $7,000.
Yeah.
But again, that comes down to Stuart giving it its love and attention.
Yeah. All these little trims, and that would be. Would they be?
New.
Oh yeah.
All new inners on both front and rear.
Yeah. Yeah. You can just tell.
Yes.
Like it's
So those sort of details means that it's no ordinary E39.
Yeah.
It's just had all of that extra treatment to turn it into something.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a special, really.
Yeah.
Because it's a standard 540i from the factory. But if you add those M5 and interior trim items and wheels and mirrors,
and the work it's had done, all the refurb
and
stuff,
all of
and
the
that.
other, the electricals probably really show as an update on the car. Stuart has done the blue bus system on the dashboard, so that you can just use your phone to run your music, which is a very nice item to have, in terms of just having that modern aspect of the car.
For sure.
While still having a really standard sort of look to the overall.
Not like it's modernised it so much that you can't see the old car anymore. But
and brand new at an enormous expense of $900 for a brand new steering wheel with the motorsport trim.
Oh wow! Yeah.
It's got the the two-tone stitching on it.
Yeah.
All of those sort of details add to the luxury of getting in and driving.
Oh, nice!
vehicle.
Yeah, that is a nice wheel. Oh, the difference with
beautiful stitching.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it just feels so yummy.
Yeah.
While still having the original sort of leather on the seats and so forth. Has character.
Yeah.
But really, the steering wheels, after 300,000 kilometres, would be pretty manky. In terms of,
And it doesn't matter what you do to them, you just can't get them, without doing that.
It's again all optioned.
Yeah.
Functionality.
Yeah.
And the blue bus, you can run everything off the steering wheel if you want.
Yep.
Cruise control, brilliant. electrics, everything's electric, even the headrests electric, you know, up and down. So yeah, lots of nice aspects to it. I don't know if the windows, the mirrors go in and out. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's your fold up.
Yeah.
And that's a sort of a bit of a an unusual aspect to the mirrors on the M5s.
Yeah, yeah. We better
which adds to it.
we better pop the hood and have a
Yeah.
look at that V8. Yeah, it's just got a beautiful shine to it. Wow.
Yes, it's I mean, it's not perfect, but it's as good as you get on a paint job these days.
Lovely.
And of course, under here is just, you know,
Yeah.
so neat and tidy. It's just a super clean car, basically.
Yeah, it is.
And that helps a lot in terms of, you know, if you're buying something to drive and enjoy, you're not having to wipe oil leaks away.
Yeah.
And it's just a pleasure to get in and turn the key, and it has a bit of a rumble to start with, and then of course once the tick over is there and it quietens down, it's just whisper quiet.
You haven't had it running this morning apart from putting it out here?
I have had it running.
Will it have cooled off enough to cold start?
Probably will have. We could do a cold start.
See
how we.
Yeah. Smooth.
So smooth.
Yeah.
A lot of work on the engine. Getting all that refresh on it.
Yeah.
But it's doing its thing at the moment because it's, you know, cold, and then you can hear it slowly go down.
And when you're out on the open road and you put your foot down, you'd hear the V8 coming into its own, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Which only the V8s have. You can't get it out of any other configuration. There you go. Drop right down.
Just ticking over.
Ticking away.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be, if you were just cruising, it would be, like, it wouldn't be terribly uneconomical,
no,
would it? You know?
if you're kind to it, because I have been in the last little while getting used to the vehicle, although it's very familiar in lots of ways because of having other E39s, but you're treating it as a new baby, and it just effortless, you know, torque out of that V8 with it being so nicely refreshed. And you find the gearbox is the other advantage out of these, because they're just next level again compared to, say, the other two cars. Especially with a refresh. It just feels like it's got that extra amount of drop down, you know, when you accelerate away.
Doing what it should.
Oh,
and
awesome. The gearbox in the E31, of course, it's a pretty sophisticated gearbox, but it's a heavy car, so you have to move the accelerator a lot more to make it go.
Right,
And yet it's basically the same motor.
Yeah.
Not as much power though in that one. I don't know what these are, but it'd be 280 maybe.
Right. Even
it
with
feels more.
Yeah.
Because it just seems to pull away so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, once you're underway.
Well, with what Stuart's done to it too, it's probably running more like it would have when it was new.
Yeah. It's like a new car in terms of that feel.
Yeah.
Because the refresh has just given it all that extra, you know, oomph back that would have been lost over the 300,000 kilometres otherwise.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when, in terms of it being refreshed, did he strip it down and do everything, or?
All the front of the engine came off, so, you know, chains and guides the list is, you know, fairly comprehensive.
Yeah, yeah. Everything it needed.
It would be debatable whether he actually made any money out of selling the car to me, because he put so much into it. But he was sad to see it go down the driveway as I drove away the other day.
He's a truly passionate
yes,
guy.
Because he has a real thing for E39s.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of E38s, which are the bigger 7 Series cars, which of this era.
Yeah.
And I think he's really keen to get those cars finished, which, you know, he's enjoying working on.
Yeah.
And, you know, he'll have some beautiful cars again, you know.
Because he's got a couple of, he's got 2 M5s, E39 M5s?
One that I know of, the black, I think he's only got the one black one.
Right.
People were getting confused thinking he had the 2 because of this.
Oh, maybe
because
that's what I was thinking.
they'd see the body and the M5 mirrors. The wing mirrors are the giveaway. People think straight away, oh, it's an M5.
And the M5s are actually quite a subtle looking M car too, aren't they?
So it's not till you go to the back. And there's quad exhaust that it's a real M5.
Not like M cars these days. No. You know, they actually played it down back then, but you know an M car now when you see one. Yeah,
but you couldn't necessarily tell the subtleties of the M5 in this series until you saw those quad exhausts. Because some of the standard, you know, V8 cars looked so similar.
Yeah, and that was probably intentional. Well, that's nice. Thanks, Bruce. That's a nice little summary of the E. We thought we'd line up the E cars, so the E chassis. So, yeah.
All beautiful blue ones.
Yeah.
Somebody commented because I posted a picture of the cars lined up, and they said blue's the new red, and I said no, blue was always the new whatever colour.
Yeah.
Because it kind of suits the BMW bodies. In all their subtlety, because blue, all of those different blues have their different ways of showing off the body. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome, thank you. So we're going to go for a little drive. Bruce is going to let me drive, so he's going to hang on to this camera and we'll just go for a little cruise up the road and back, just so I can get a feel for what a refreshed 540i feels like. There you go. Oh, my steering wheel feels so nice.
It's lovely, isn't it? Because it's just got that lovely matte finish on it.
Yeah, I've tried to get the gloss off mine, but
you have to wash them with just a damp cloth.
Yeah, just keeps coming back.
Because the grease from your hands is what gives it that shiny look.
I think the previous owner of mine, I think the missus drove it quite a lot. And
oil on your hands.
Oil and
product,
And I've noticed it is like scratch marks from rings on different things. It's telltale signs, you know.
Clear this way.
Oh yeah, there's still warmth in that.
Yeah, it's got enough without hurting it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so smooth.
But no creaks or groans, or you know, it's just that suspension's really tight.
That's the road cut.
The V8s have got a, I think it's the recircling ball steering as opposed to rack and pinion, so it's a bit different. Probably not quite as precise in the corners. But of course it was designed for just comfort, really. So sometimes the 6-cylinder cars can feel a bit crisper on the cornering compared to the V8, but BMW must have decided in their infinite wisdom that the recircling bore was a better option.
Less effort required probably. So what I've noticed
as a cruiser,
yeah,
it just gives that more luxury feel.
Yeah. You start going the opposite direction, like with what I've done with mine, and you kind of have to be on the ball.
Yeah.
You know, come up to corners and it just does exactly what it should. But you definitely feel the sharpness of everything.
Yes. I think it's just a little bit slower in its first turn in, and maybe with that recircling ball.
Yeah.
So if you're pushing through a corner, you've actually got to really make sure you're doing a deliberate turn into the corner.
Right.
That be good when they get that bottom part of the road sorted.
Yeah.
But Stuart's done a pretty good job on that engine. It's just super smooth.
It is.
And with that little corner there, you can feel how you just need to turn into it.
Yeah.
To make it bite.
There's an initial not much happening, and then all of a sudden you can feel it doing its thing.
And it will be down to getting used to that if you're driving other vehicles, perhaps with the rack and pinion being so much more direct. Yes, it's some people would say it's a bit more disconnected in the terms of the steering. But you're still getting feel for the bite on the tyres.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just a matter of when you're coming out of the corner, putting your foot down a little bit, to get that. You soon get the feel for it.
And the offset wheels means you've got quite a lot of rubber at the back to push on with. It's not going to break away necessarily.
With the 18s that it's got on, you've got a lot of nice cushion and so it's all about the comfort.
Oh, a white one's appeared in the garage.
Oh, look at that. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching another video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's good to catch up with Bruce as always. He's a member of the BMW Car Club of New Zealand, and also the group that I'm quite involved with, which is Simply BMW. Simply BMWs, the group that he mentioned that Stuart, who he bought the E39 from, is a member of. But Stuart's also the main guy for Waikato BMW Car Club, and a very passionate BMW enthusiast. So yeah, it was good to see this little collection together. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in more, have a look through the channel, and there'll be more videos coming up, so subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching. See ya.